Hello, welcome back to the Flanagan Homestead. Christmas trees are my business, but then the gardening, berries are my favorite. If you've all followed my channel, you've seen a bunch of blueberry stuff. Today we're going to focus on strawberries. Last year for the first time I bought strawberries off of Amazon in the mail. I bought Quinault everbearing. They were fantastic. So I want some more everbearing strawberries, so I got some Everlast everbearing. We're going to plant those today. They're coming in a bag. It's February 1st. And they look horrible to begin with, but they'll grow. So by the end of the video, you will see the process of how they grew and transplant them out in my garden. And so if you're a berry enthusiast, whether it's blueberries, strawberries, or whatever berries, I'd love to hear comments from you on how you do it or questions. But today's video will take you from pulling them out of the bag to putting them till the time they're ready to put in the garden. Whether that's going to be March or April, whenever they're ready and the weather cooperates. It's Monday, February 1st. I've got my everbearing strawberries, Eversweet, that I got in from Amazon. I'm going to pull them out of the bag. I got them this weekend. When you buy strawberries online, they look horrible to begin with, but these are actually quite nice plants, probably, I'm guessing, based on how it went last time. What looks like almost all dead will grow up and be quite bountiful. So I like to get these started in February, end of January, February. Give them a couple months head start, and they'll be a good healthy plant by the time I take them outside and plant them, and I'll get a lot of berries this summer. I'm not going to take a ton of care into planting these. These are not their resting spot. This is just to keep them alive. I'm going to put just a little bit of soil on the bottom of the pot, so there's place underneath the roots. Hold the crown, pour soil around it. Drop a plant in, pour soil around it. We'll water that in. Let it grow there for a month or two. Here they are planted, my Eversweet strawberries. I had a few that had exceedingly long root systems, so I got cups that had a little bit more depth. Put them in there. Always remember to label what you put in there, even though I don't think I'm going to be getting more strawberry transplants. It seems like every time I don't label something, I get something similar and plant it, and then I don't have labels on it. Next thing you know, you don't know what's going on. Here we are 3 days later. They say you're supposed to be able to tell how they're doing after 3 days. Most of these obviously have green leaves opening up and budding. The ones that don't have leaves, like this one, they have a little bit of green. I believe it's going to come up. So we're off to a good start. It's February 8th, 1 week after planting. You can see things are progressing nicely here. It is now February 16th. All 30 strawberry plants seem to be coming up and doing well. It's been 4 weeks, 1 short month. You can see I planted these Eversweets on February 1st. It's now March 1st, and they're thriving. I came back this weekend. There's my first bloom there. There's a couple more blooms trying to come in here. Another bloom right down in here about to come out. So these strawberries are thriving in here. The weather's getting warmer outside. I may be taking these outside soon. It is the morning of Tuesday, March 9th. I've loaded up my strawberries to take them outside. We've still been getting a little bit of frost on the ground, but there's no frost today. It's in the high 30s. It's going to warm up throughout the day, but I'm going to start taking the strawberries outside every now and then to get used to a little bit colder, because I want to transplant them soon. They're plenty big enough to be planted outside, but the weather just doesn't seem to be changing and warming up. It's April 4th, so the weather's going to finally cooperate. A little bit of cold nights, but we're going to get some sunshine and a little bit of warmth. Time to get these in the ground. I'm doing more berries. Besides my trees and my Christmas trees, berries are my favorite thing, my favorite crops. And I'm putting in some more strawberries, and I love strawberries. I absolutely love strawberries. So we've had June bearing for years, and there's big commercial farms around here that do June bearing, and they cut they do millions of pounds, and they harvest them and freeze them and send them different places. But I got tired of June being the very month and then gone. So last year I put in Quinault strawberries, which is an everbearing, and they were fantastic. They're an everbearing, but they're almost acted like a day neutral, where they just kept blooming and harvesting all year long. So I'm not into, for my strawberries, picking them and freezing a bunch of them. Strawberries are my treat that I just come out in the garden and eat. And so we have this hillside has been terraced since early last summer, and it's still in the process of doing it. We're turning it into a garden. It was too steep to do anything with before, and it just grew weeds. So I built retaining walls, several retaining walls, tons and tons of rock moved and concrete poured. But it's going to be great because now I have a garden that it's like a raised bed. I don't have to lean way over because I stand on the lower section and then can weed and eat out of the upper section. But when Hot Mama was like, well, what section do we want to put the berries in? I said, it just has to be in my path. So these steps right here are the path from my house down to the goat chicken barn. It's where I come down to irrigate. It's the garden. And I just like to eat my strawberries, especially if you've never done it. Eat your strawberries in the morning. When you walk out, they're still cool from being the nighttime, and pick a fresh, cool strawberry and pluck them in your mouth. It's a morning treat while I'm doing my chores, whether it's dealing with the animals or moving irrigation or whatever it is. So I have my strawberries right on my pathway that I go past every day, and I love them. So I did the Quinaults last year, which were an everbearing, as I mentioned, and I enjoyed having them all year long. I was eating them all the way into November. There wasn't enough sun in November to make them really sweet, but actually through mid-October, they were really sweet. So I have strawberries right here. I have everbearing, I have Quinault and eversweet here. As soon as I plant these, I have some June bearing ones on the next shelf, and if you look up top, up the next shelf, I have the raspberries that I got from a friend yesterday. Story on the raspberries. My wife is the most amazing person in the world, and I love her, but when we were clearing out this hillside, we had some raspberries growing over the hillside, and I wanted to save them. They're fantastic raspberries. But we had to clean out all the mess so we could make those retaining walls, and she had the boys down here just like, tear them out, throw them over the hill, throw them on the burn pile. And I had to go do something else. I came back, and where's the raspberries? They're all gone. We have one cane left right here. And I was like, what? You know, that's an unpardonable sin to get rid of all your raspberry canes. So we had no raspberries to eat last year. It was bad. But I do have new raspberry canes right there, and as we figure out where we want to lay everything out, there's definitely going to be more raspberries. So yeah, strawberries, raspberries, and the blueberries are on the row up top, and I'm getting more blueberries than I'm putting out over there. The soil here that I'm going to plant in, the strawberries like well-drained soil. So I had, I did a hot compost last year. Took me about 6 weeks. I had grass clippings, sawdust from a friend's cabinet shop, goat and chicken manure, threw it in there, mixed it up. It was up over 140 degrees for weeks. Broke down really quickly. I got some sand from down by the river, mixed it in, and planting the strawberries in this because they like it well drained. So it worked out really good. So being that I have these plants here, I'm going to put them about a foot apart is what you want to do on these everbearing. I'm going to mound up just a little bit, and then I'm just going to stick them in the ground. A lot of times it's recommended triple 10, 10, 10, 10 fertilizer. I have some triple 16 around that I use for a lot of things, so they'll be getting some triple 16. And we're going to be putting these in the ground today, and I look forward to eating these strawberries shortly. When I told you I was going to be mounding these up, basically I'm setting them on the ground and moving soil in around it, which essentially creates the mound for them. As with almost any berries, wood chips and sawdust around them are in order. So there you have it, everbearing strawberries. These are Eversweet, bought off of Amazon, came in a little envelope, 30 plants. I've got a new bed right here. You can see I have about 8-10 plants left over. I'll have to put another patch up above there, but this bed is full right here. The next level is my June bearing. Next level is raspberries. Next level is blueberries, and it's going to be good. Thanks for joining me on the Flanagan Homestead, where Christmas trees are my business, teaching, including horticulture, is my job, and outdoor projects is my passion. I love hearing from people that are watching the videos, what was beneficial, what isn't. I'd love to hear comments from you, suggestions for me. Thanks for joining me.